Hi everyone, and welcome to EarthEcho Snack Size Science. My name is Jacqueline, and today we're here to talk about phenology, or the science of appearance in plants. First, I'd like to say, as we know, there are a lot of people online right now. So if we experience any technical issues, it's simply because of all these people on the internet, so bear with us. Also, this video is being recorded and will be available to watch again on our YouTube channel right here. So let's go ahead and get started with bud burst. First of all, let's go over the materials list on what you need. So you will need a flower. You will also need tweezers, a magnifying lens, if you have one, that's great. Protective eyewear, just because when we're dealing with plants, sometimes we can be dealing with pollens or other allergies. Paper towel to do your dissection on, and then another option is gloves in case you're super sensitive to pollen in plants and flowers. So like I said, today we're here to learn about phenology. Simply put, phenology is the science of appearance, or when biological events happen in certain seasons of the year. For example, we all know that bears hibernate in the winter months. But how do plants show phenology? Well, they have what scientists call Pheno Phases. And Pheno Phases are observable stages or phases of a plant's life cycle. And so you can see the observable stages here in plants. There is the budding, the flowering, the fruiting, and then the releasing of the seed. And this all has to do with plant reproduction. And these are the Pheno Phases of a plant. So today we'll be focusing on the budding or the flowering stage of a plant, depending on what you were able to find in your backyard. Since I live here in Florida, I have a hibiscus plant, and I've been observing it for about a week and a half. So last week I went out and I took some pictures of the different Pheno Phases I could see all on the one hibiscus bush or plant. So you can see that we have a couple budding stages. And then that last bud is about to burst into a hibiscus flower. So let's talk a little bit about flowers. And we know that flowers are often grown for their beauty or fragrance. But the reason for both of those things is the survival of the plant. Flowers attract bees, wasps, and other insects which carry pollen from one plant to the next. This process is necessary so plants can produce fruit, which produce seeds from which new plants grow. So all of those Pheno Phases that we discussed just a minute ago are very important and help the plant in reproduction. There they are again. So we have budding, flowering, fruiting, and then releasing that seed to create new plants. So I'd like to move to the fun part of our snack size science today, and that is the dissection of our flower. So first I'll show you guys my flower here. I was able to pick this beautiful hibiscus this morning. It's very blooming. So let's go over our materials one more time. So for right now, I'm lucky that, I wear glasses. So I always have my protective eyewear on. But if you have some glasses, science glasses available, you might want to put those on just to protect your eyes from any pollen or any plant particles, flower particles. We also have our tweezers, which we will use for the dissection. The paper towel, which I have laid down underneath. Gloves are optional. And then again, last but not least, your flowers. So again, my hibiscus is one that I borrowed from my backyard. Depending on where you are in the world, you may have a different species of flower, but that's okay. Flowers all generally have the same parts. So follow along with me. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. So first, we're going to place the flower on the paper towel. So I have that over here with my camera. You can see my pink hibiscus here. It's really pretty. And now we are going to look at the base of the flower first. So I'm just going to kind of move the petals away. And can you see all of these green leaves here? These are actually called sepals. And sepals are leaf-like structures outside the petals. And their purpose is they protect the flower when it's in that budding pheno phase. So you can see this flower is actually budded, so the sepals kind of break apart. So I'm going to take my tweezers and just kind of pull these away. Ooh, that was a good one. I got 3 in 1. And I'm just going to kind of set them to the side here. So at the end, I can look at all the parts of the flower that I've dissected. And if they break apart, that's okay. Dissections are really fun because you get hands-on with an object, you never know what you're going to see or find. I actually can see a little ant crawling around in here too. And ants are actually part of pollinating as well. And we'll see if that ant crawls out as we continue to dissect the flower here. And don't worry, I'll make sure he gets back outside. So I'm pulling off all of these sepals here and kind of exposing the base of the flower. All right, that looks pretty good. I'll hold up the sepal here underneath my little magnifying glass so you guys can see that up close. So again, it's just the protective covering, little green leaf there. All right, let me move my magnifying glass back. So now we have removed all of the sepals. Next, we are going to take off the petals. So you can see the petals in the magnifying glass here. They're really pretty. And one fun fact that I love about petals is that they're really beautiful. They're all different colors. So we're gonna just pull these apart here. You can use your tweezers. Look at that piece, that red that came out of there. It's really pretty. Or you can use your fingers. I'm gonna go ahead and use my tweezers, and I'm gonna pull off every single petal on my hibiscus. And we're just gonna set these off to the side. So don't get rid of them yet. Just kind of set them out to the side. Lay them out on your paper towel. And what we're doing is we're going to expose some of these underneath parts of the plant. Do you guys see that? That beautiful red coloration that's showing up here as I'm carefully removing all these petals. And the petals should come off pretty easy. If you have some petals that are a little bit stuck, be gentle. Pull them apart here. I'm going to go ahead and use my fingers for these last ones instead of my tweezers. Pulling all these petals apart. All right. So now what we have done, these petals here, this is a big flower today. I have to be a little bit careful because I can see one of my plant parts is kind of separated with these petals, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. So I'm going to leave these 3 petals on for now. So at the base here, you can see the style. So the style is this long, let me get my tweezers, this long part in the middle of the flower. And that's what I was saying kind of got broke apart with mine today, but that's okay. You can still see it here. Let me put this under the magnifying glass for everybody. So right here, this long part, that is called the style. So inside the style, actually at the bottom here, the magnifying glass is really good for this. This is the plant's ovary. So right here at the base of the flower, above the stem here, you have the ovary, which is an important part of reproduction. Inside the ovary, if I had a a microscope at home, I would love to open this up and take out the little ovules. So the ovules are a little part inside the ovary here. If you have some time after this and you want to dig in there and see if you can see them yourself, you might be able to see them with your eyes, which is really great. So let's go back to our petals real quick. And I'm going to bring a couple of them underneath the magnifying glass here so you can see them really up close. So the fun fact about petals is they're actually modified leaves. So petals are modified leaves, and the reason that they're so colorful and pretty, like pink and red that you can see here, is what attracts pollinators, like bees, butterflies, bats, and more, like the ants that we saw here. All right, so now we're gonna go back to our flower. Everybody following along here? I'm actually gonna move my magnifying glass for a minute. And we have the style here, which I'm gonna pull apart from these leaves. And right here we go. So right here at the top, at the style, I'm actually going to pull this off away from the plant. You guys see that here? So this long structure here is the style. And what I have just exposed by moving those right here, put that under the microscope, is the anther. So the anthers, these little, they're kind of in my hibiscus, they're yellow. They kind of have little knobs on the end, I guess you could say. And that's the anthers. So the anthers are actually what makes the pollen. So now I'm going to take my anthers and I'm going to pick off some of the pollen. So I just have a little black piece of, it's actually a magnet here, so you can see it a little better. But I'm going to go ahead and just pick off some of that pollen with my tweezers and then kind of just moosh it around and look at it. So the pollen granules are what the plants need in order to reproduce or make more plants. So let me hold this up here so you can see it a little bit more in focus. Here we go. So go ahead and check out the pollen. Now, for those of us who have allergies, like me, this is the stuff that makes us all itchy and runny eyes during allergy season. So if you're dissecting and you know you have allergies, just be careful of the pollen because this is definitely the stuff that can make us sneeze. I see we have some questions coming in. Oh, Katie on YouTube says that hibiscus pollen is awesome to look at under a microscope. So if you happen to have a microscope at home or you think about this when we get back in school, ask your science teachers and definitely make a slide and look at that pollen underneath the microscope. And Jenna would like to know, do petals photosynthesize since they're modified leaves? That's a great question. So photosynthesis, kind of a review, we typically think of green leaves that photosynthesize and produce food for the plant. But petals have no photosynthetic tissue, but some green flowers might. So my pink flowers that I have here today, they're not going to photosynthesize, okay? They're just simply there to attract those pollinators, but that's a really great question. All right, so back to the spot here. We've removed the anthers, and now we're going to remove the pistil. So the pistil is right here. I simply just picked it off of this part of the plant. Let me move my magnifying glass for you all. So I picked it off right here of the stalk. This is the pistil. Okay, mine got a little bit broken, but that's okay. That happens in dissections, right? So this is the pistil, and the pistil is also part of the reproductive process, and it helps transfer the pollen from flower to flower. So I'm going to kind of put my pieces of the plant here. The stem, remember the ovary and the ovules are in here. We have the pistil. The anther, I kind of broke that apart by taking the pollen off, but you can see the pollen here. And don't forget, we have those sepals, which are part of the budding Pheno phase. They protect the flower before the flower actually buds. And then we have lots and lots of pretty petals here. So those are, oh, you guys can't really see those petals, can you? Here we go. So these are the parts of the flower that are part of the reproductive process. So I'm wondering if any of you at home that were able, or maybe if you are down in or up north where you have some different plants who are, experiencing different Pheno phases, you may find some that are still in that budding stage, which is really cool. So you can go ahead and dissect buds. You can dissect half open flowers to see, what different parts that you find. So just to review, now I think you can see everything here, and I'll move the magnifying glass so we can look at it up close. We first pulled apart the sepals. Whoop, there they are there. Those are protective green leaves that are part of the flower. We also looked at the ovule, the ovary, and you can look in more to find the ovule. So that's right here at the base of the stem. Whoop, there we go. We looked at the petals, which attract the pollinators. We looked at the anthers. I think I have a little bit of one left here. Kind of see that. There we go. The anthers, which create the pollen. We then also looked at the pollen, which combines with the ovules at the base of the stem there. And then we looked at the pistil, which transfers pollen from flower to flower. So we've looked at all of the reproductive parts of a flower, and we've looked at all of the Pheno phases that I'm able to see here in Florida. So next time you head outside, I would encourage you to watch carefully and look for some bees. Bees are really fun to observe outside. I have a lot of bees now. And if I watch the bees, I can actually see them kind of brush up against the different flowers that are in my yard. And what they're doing is they are gathering pollen. They're gathering food and pollen to take back to their hive. If a bee brushes against the anther, the stamen, the other part of another flower, that's how the bee transfers pollen from one flower to the next. They must land on that female structure, the stamen that we saw in the pistil. And then the tiny hairs on the bee will collect the pollen, and then they move it from flower to flower to flower. And that's how we get reproduction. So that's how flowers are able to reproduce. Plants are able to reproduce and create more flowers and seeds. So to review today, we looked at the reproductive parts of a flower during our dissection. And I'm going to see if we have any questions. Oh, we have a question from Yasmin on YouTube, and she wants to know, was that ant we found a pollinator? It's a great question. And the ants, yes, they are part of pollination as well. So they will crawl around. They do get pollen on them. And if they crawl around on another flower, another plant, then they will help with reproduction that way. So they kind of help with the plant reproduction without even knowing, which is really fun. So today we looked at the reproductive parts of a flower during our dissections today. And I encourage everyone to take a minute and head outside and observe the flowers and other budding plants during this time of year. Like I said, for our friends who are in different parts of the world, the country, you may have some plants that are really getting ready to have a bud burst, right? They're really getting ready to kind of burst open with all of those flowers. So with that in mind, there's a great project that at EarthEcho we really love, and that's called the Project Bud Burst. So you can be involved with Project Bud Burst. You can see that screenshot on the screen there. And Project Bud Burst started in 2007, and it's a large database full of observations of the changes in plants from all over the US. You can head over to budburst.org how you can participate. It's a really great way to contribute to science in your neighborhood, especially during this time when a lot of us are at home. Most of us are at home. So that is Bud Burst there. So you can actually explore more resources from EarthEcho, like our Echo Challenge. Our Echo Challenge is a STEM competition that empowers students to take a closer look at biodiversity in their communities. Students will identify threats to local ecosystems, and then you can propose solutions to help preserve, protect, or repair those natural resources. And you can qualify to win up to $10,000 to protect your local community. So you can visit earthecho.org, you can see that on the screen there, and enter the Our Echo Challenge today. The deadline for submissions is April 21st, which is coming up quick. You can see we have a countdown there. It looks like 5 days, 23 hours, 33 minutes, and 23 seconds for you to get online and enter your ideas on how you can protect and save biodiversity in your area. Another great way to become a citizen scientist, which we touched on with Bud Burst, is to become a water challenge expert, become part of our EarthEcho Water Challenge. So tune in to our YouTube channel right here on Friday for another snack size science called Wading into Water Quality. We'll be touching on water quality and how you can become a citizen scientist and protect water in your area. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and social media channels to catch all of our virtual programmings this month and beyond. This video has been recorded and you can watch it again right here on our EarthEcho's YouTube channel. Feel free to share it with any teachers, parents, or families that you know that may be interested in watching this or doing the dissection themselves. And while you're on our website, if you would like to support our programs, please consider making a donation. Thank you so much. I'm going to actually pause and see if we have any more questions. And I've heard from one of my plant experts on my team that ant, they probably transfer nectar, but not too much pollen. So thank you. We'll hold for any other questions. Again, if you were dissecting a flower at home, you probably didn't have a hibiscus, maybe you had a tulip or something like that. Then, you know, like I said, you're going to see the same parts, but they may look a little different. So let us know if you're seeing anything like that. Another question that we have coming in from YouTube right now is, what is a perfect flower? It's a great question. And perfect flowers are those that have the male part, so the stamen that we looked at, and the female part, the pistil, together on the same flower, the same plant. So that's what a perfect flower is. So basically they have both the male and the female parts, so they're able to reproduce without having other flowers around them. So we'll pause, see if we have any other questions. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So I just want to thank everybody for stopping in for some snack size science. I hope you had fun and learned a little bit along the way. I know I did. So from all of us at EarthEcho International, we just want to say, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep exploring in any way that you can. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.